Good morning, Brain Please. Just to respond again, um, is I wanted to make it very clear that I'm not even attempting to argue for a truth value regarding the nature of reality. I'm attempting to argue for an accurate value of the nature of information, which I actually think is more on topic with what a person does when they argue in the first place. I actually think that as a biological being which extracts patterns from uh, observed reality and including subjectively observed reality, that that there is something disingenuous to the idea of extracting the nature of reality, because to me it seems like the very act of creating patterns is an act of skewing reality from what it is and turning it and breaking it down into something that is more usable. So I'm opposed to the concept of arguing for the truth value of reality, because I actually believe that there is something disingenuous just to that regard. Um, so I honestly do think that science may have transcended philosophy, um, just like how mathematics in a lot of forms transcended counting. But counting is still needed for mathematics, especially to confirm that a part of mathematics actually works. So I'm not saying that philosophy is no longer needed and has no utility, but that science may have transcended it. But deduction still has a very high probability of creating a hypothesis that'll meet theory. And it is so. To me, theory is not just a positivist thing. But yeah, empiricism, I'm glad you brought this up. Empiricism is based on assumed truths. And of course, as natural beings, the basis for everything we have in some form or another is an assumed truth. And that hopefully we have these assumed truths, quote unquote, but that this ability to understand the difference between one pattern and another pattern, that we have hopefully developed because it assists in our survival. So hopefully it is at least better than chance at 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 basically being used in our survival. So that being said, axioms are true, or are accurate to the degree that they have helped with our survival, but assumed truths can be flawed. And to me, that also means that if you can make a test for an assumed truth to reduce its chance of error, that's great. There are plenty of axioms that could be tested to some degree or another. The best one I can think of is like a triangle. How do you know the difference between a triangle and a square? Well, the declaration of a triangle has 3 sides, while a square has 4 sides, and they're of even sides. And let's just say this is an isosceles triangle, and so they all have even length sides. To me, that is a deductive and rational and dialectic description of the difference between a square and a triangle, and does not validate the difference between the shapes. But if you were to say that if you have one triangle, a physical triangle of a certain number of properties, and you take another triangle shape that is slightly larger, and the two fit into each other, you now have a tested declaration that one triangle of a certain size will fit into a triangle of another size, whereas a square of a similar size to a triangle will not fit into the triangle. And I think you know what I'm getting at. Like, you know, you could calculate the volume or the surface area or the distance of its perimeter or anything else like that, and you would see that squares and triangles do not fit, but with a slight variation, a triangle will fit inside of a triangle. And so now you have you would have what is a theory. That is, there is a very low chance of error that under these guidelines, one triangle will not fit into a triangle, and that is usable information again. So that's pretty much where I stand. Yeah, that's it.